Are you an aspiring business analyst wondering, do I need to get certified? What are the benefits of certification? Will it give me a better salary? Will it get me a better job? And which certification should I get? Which one is really valued by employers? Believe me, you're not alone. Certifications are on the mind of every aspiring business analyst. My name is Stephanie Lockman-Doucette, and I have plenty of experience helping professionals launch their career in business analysis. And it's my pleasure to share with you some personal perspectives on what makes sense and what adds value. This is the first in a 3-part series on business analyst certifications. In this first episode, I'm going to answer that question, do you need to get certified? Is there really value? Is it important? In the second episode, I'm going to discuss which certification you should pursue. In the third episode, I'm going to address, what happens next? After you have your first certification, where do you go from there? How do you keep your career growing and advancing? So the short answer to your question of do you need to get certified is it depends. It depends on about 5 different factors. And we're going to walk through the analysis to see how those factors all play together. Just in quick summary, those 5 factors are: what is your formal education background? What is your work experience? What is your family situation? Are the employers asking for it? And your personal interest. Now, let's do a little bit of analysis because, after all, you are an aspiring business analyst. First of all, let's take a look at the market. Does the market in your industry, in your city, actually ask for certifications? Take a look at some of those job postings. See what they're seeking. Are they just looking for practical experience, or are they looking for a certification? If they want the certification, then yeah, you need to invest the time and the effort and the money to get certified. If they're not asking for the certification, well, maybe you have some options. Now let's take a look at your personal experience. If you come from a background in computer science, general business, if you've studied a lot in analytics, data science, business analysis, whether or not you need a certification is probably optional. I suspect that you have the academic background to be able to understand the concepts that you will need to apply. If you come from a background in customer service or customer support, again, I think you probably have the background necessary to be able to excel in this career. If you come from something else other than those identified, you might need to invest a lot of time in the education. And if you're going to invest the time and money in education, you may as well proceed and get certified. Now, let's take a look at some of the pros and cons. First of all, certification will be that signal that you've reached a basic level of competency and you understand the tools and techniques and you can practice effectively in the workplace. It's also a great tool to provide an international standard. If you're pursuing a career in the city in which you were educated, or even in the country in which you were educated, those hiring professionals will recognize the name of your institution. They'll give it some basic credibility. But if you're trying to pursue a career outside of your home country or outside of where you were educated, they may not recognize that institution. So having an international certification provides a standard, ensuring that we all have the same basic capabilities. Having a certification can also be a signal to the employer that you actually are committed to this industry, committed to this profession, and that you're not just doing a sort of a fly-by-night thing and seeing what sticks. Certifications may be that distinguishing characteristic. As an employer is looking at your resume and they say, this individual has a certification. They might do very well in the job. It may be that invitation that gets you into the door so that you can impress the future employer with your charisma and your knowledge and your capabilities. It'll also give you that confidence because you know your stuff. You've been through this. And when you're in the interview and they're quizzing you on all those techniques, you'll be able to respond quickly with confidence and demonstrate that you really do know what you're talking about. Finally, because you do know what you're talking about, when you do get hired on the job, you'll be able to demonstrate those capabilities a little bit more effectively. Your analysis may be a little bit more detailed. You might get recognized faster. You might get that plum assignment. You might get promoted and you might get advanced a little faster. Now let's take a moment to look at those cons because there's pros and cons. You have to look at both sides of the equation. Certification does take a large personal investment in your time. You need to spend time studying. It's not easy. There's a lot to learn, a lot to understand, and the exam is tough. Certification also requires an investment in money. You need to invest money to buy the study materials. You need to invest the money in the training and actually taking the exam itself. You may be lucky and have an employer that is willing to pay all of those expenses for you. But if you're self-employed, it's something that you need to decide and invest for yourself. Then there's that question of, well, does it really bring additional money? Does it really bring better jobs? Some employers value certification, but some do not. Some will not give you that bonus or that incremental salary because you have the certification. They say, this is what the job is. It is possible that some hiring managers may think that you have too much experience and discount you from the job because they think you'll be bored. In general, I do believe education is a good thing. It gives you that confidence, it gives you the understanding, it gives you the perspective. Business analysis is not a career choice like medicine or engineering where you require the certification in order to practice. There are many professionals that practice very effectively who do not have certification. Now, a little bit of personal perspective. I've been the new grad who's just spent 4 years in university and a lot of courses and a lot of exams that I don't need any more of this, just let me work. I've been the employee in a rockin' high-tech company that was growing fast. And I looked around me and I said, hey, this is cool, this is exciting, I'm doing well. And I looked at the managers and I looked at the directors and I said, they don't have certifications, they're doing just fine. Why should I need a certification? My career was growing up, I was happy. I've been that hiring manager who looked at a CV and said, this person has too much education, my job is too simple, I'm not even going to consider them for an interview. I've also been that hiring manager that said, I have a particularly challenging role. I think this individual would be well suited for it. So I've seen both sides of that equation, and I'm just the same manager, and I can have two different opinions. And then I was laid off from that wonderful high-tech job, and I looked at the marketplace and I said, where am I going to go now? And I decided which direction I was going to take my career, and that particular market required certifications. So I invested the time, I invested the money, I became certified as a project manager. And I worked in that particular domain for a couple of years, and I said, not quite for me, and I re-vectored into business analysis. That was a little bit more aligned with my personal interests, and I'm very happy I've done so. So it's proved to be very effective for me. Now as a consultant, certifications take on a whole new meaning, because certifications have been that reason why I landed that plum contract with many, many new challenges and opportunities. The lack of a certification has also been why I was turned away from certain contracts and didn't have the opportunity. So as a consultant, as a freelancer, certifications are your ticket. They're your key towards new contracts. So no matter what it is, you need to look at your situation. You need to evaluate your family situation, your personal situation. You need to look at the market, and you need to figure out what you're personally interested in. Those are the factors you need to consider when you're thinking about certification, whether or not it's right for you. So there you have it. Some pros, some cons, a little bit of analysis, and Stephanie's personal perspective on whether or not you should get certified. Now, as mentioned, this was the first episode in a 3-part series. In the second installment of this series, I'm going to be addressing that question of which certification is right at this point in your career. Then in the third episode, I'm going to be talking about, well, what happens next? After you have that certification, where do you go from there? What other certifications could you add to your portfolio to bring value to yourself and to those potential employers? Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today. I'm hoping you found it useful. Please take a moment to click that thumbs up icon and subscribe. Also take a moment to look in that section below. I've included a couple of links that you might find helpful to give you that additional perspective and answer this question. Finally, I'd love to hear from you. Please take a moment to leave a comment. I'd love to hear about how your career transition is going and if there's anything else that I can do to help you. My name is Stephanie Lockman-Doucette, and this is Projerra, Practical Perspectives in Project Management and Business Analysis. It's been my pleasure to speak with you. Until we talk next time, take care.